Tensions and emotions swept across Europe this week as global Sumud Flotilla activists returned home after being detained by Israeli forces. In Amsterdam, Christopher Paul Hausler and Mikako Yasumura were greeted at Schiphol Airport with cheers, chants, and waving Palestinian flags. Supporters celebrated their release, highlighting widespread outrage at their treatment.
Completely outrageous that governments like the Netherlands continue to be obedient to the will of Israel in the face of the most heinous crimes of our generation. And I'm in shock that as Dutch citizens are illegally kidnapped in international waters, 100 kilometers from the shore of Palestine, put into an internment camp and facing physical and psychological abuse, denied access to sometimes life-dependent health care, denied access to basic hygiene, that there isn't even an ounce of outrage from the government. And, you know, nothing that we went through is even comparable to what Palestinians have been facing for generations.
Hausler condemned the Dutch government for inaction, saying authorities remained obedient to Israel despite detainees facing physical abuse, restricted medical care, and denial of basic hygiene during detention. In Paris, hundreds of supporters and members of La France Insoumise welcomed recently released MEP Rima Hassan. Demonstrators waved Palestinian flags and held banners reading "Macron, stop the genocide," denouncing Israel's blockade.
It's not a conflict, it's a genocide. So this marked the beginning of the implementation of the genocidal policy, or at least its acceleration. But the genocide was already underway. There was an apartheid regime and colonization. So this was not the beginning at all, it's the acceleration of the methods that were already being applied in Palestine. There were already camps. There were already people who had fewer rights than others because of their nationality.
Families of detainees recounted harrowing experiences. Activists were forced to kneel in the sun for hours, beaten for slightest movements, and suffered burns. These accounts highlighted ongoing humanitarian concerns in Gaza. In London, Aaron White described severe treatment in Israeli custody, including sleep deprivation, threats, and prolonged kneeling. He confirmed that the flotilla carried substantial humanitarian aid, countering Israeli claims of a publicity stunt.
When I came off the boat, they made us all kneel on the ground with our hands on our head and bow down for what felt like about an hour, but I don't know how long it was for. And that was probably the first or second time I thought I was going to be publicly executed, or just executed in front of people.
In Milan, hundreds marched through the streets waving flags and lighting flares, demanding accountability and the release of detained activists. Paolo Romano, a former detainee, stressed that their mobilization serves as a beacon to highlight Gaza's daily struggles.
We are here especially for Gaza, where genocide continues despite the chatter about a peace that is not coming, where innocent children, doctors, nurses, journalists continue to die, mangled, with bombs dropped by Israel that are also the result of Italian complicity of a government that continues to send weapons. We call for the release of the activists and activists who were illegally detained tonight, exactly as happened to us against international law, in international waters, and who should not be subjected to the inhumane treatment that we were subjected to.
The flotilla, aiming to deliver aid and break Israel's blockade, was intercepted last week. Around 450 participants were detained, vessels seized, and protests erupted worldwide, illustrating growing global frustration over Gaza's humanitarian crisis.
less